ribs opening up, the back and front of your heart space, Anahata Akash. And your arms can either rest comfortably by your side, palms to the sky, or you could rest with those hands on the belly or over the heart. And just allowing yourselves to drop into your bodies and into your breath without force, without judgment. Becoming aware of the areas of your body that you like to hold and carry the weight of your troubles. The tension. Maybe you feel a gripping through the hips, a clenching through the buttocks. And if you are somebody who holds in this particular area, also shift your awareness to the mouth and your jaw. And if you notice the jaw clenching or the teeth touching, try to separate the lips slightly to encourage softness and letting go. And whilst your awareness is on the face, take that awareness to the top of your head and notice any expression through the brows. Can you soften any crease between them? Can you soften the lines on the forehead? And then checking in with your shoulders and just placing where they are in comparison to your ears. And if they have crept up or cemented themselves there, can you gently glide them down and away? Observe any tension in the shoulders, and then check in with the heart, as the two are intimately connected, as are the hands. So observe sensation, temporal quality. Notice what the fingers and the toes are doing. Are they open and unfurled, or gripping? And if the latter, seeing if you can unfurl and soften. So in our yin practice today, working with the parigraha, the non-grasping yama, and this can be translated to the way you hold your pose or hold yourself. You might grasp at an idea of how it should look, how your breath should be. Or off the mat, grasping and holding on to an idea or an identity that may have served you in the past, but is now presenting some kind of restriction. Use your body as a metaphor. Your identity, the structure. Thinking about structures, they're not designed to be permanent, but to be useful. So where something previously held you, if that is no longer the case, this is what you're working on. If you'd like to set your own intention, take a moment now. And then from here, you're going to be coming all the way up into Dandasana or staff pose. So coming all the way up and then just observing if you moved in the same way that you usually would. And then perhaps in the next transition, entering that position a little differently. Legs extended, toes flexed back towards the body, shoulders over your hips, length through the crown of the head. Invite a compassionate posture, so smiling from collarbone to collarbone. Half Buddha smile, corners of the mouth lifting, soft bellies. Let go of the flexion of the toes so the legs are relaxed and begin to extend your arms out in line with your shoulders. Fold your thumbs into your palms and wrap your fingers around, creating little fists. And then from here, start to circle the left arm back, rotating the chest in the same direction. And then as you rotate that arm back in front of the body, begin to move the opposite arm, rotating the chest. And just alternating from side to side. Breath is free. And just noticing any clicks, any popping sounds. Any rigidness through the shoulder blades. And then pause in your rotation. It doesn't matter whether it's left or right. One arm extending back, one arm extending forward. And begin to make some circles with your wrists. And then you're going to rotate to the opposite side. Take note of which way you are circulating the wrists. Rotate and then begin to circulate in the opposite direction. And this might feel strange. Notice how your body responds to that change. Perhaps you feel uncomfortable, agitated. And then slowly bring your arms to your sides. Open the palms, have them facing forward, and begin to make some circles with your ankles. Observe where you might be feeling uncomfortable. Take the opposite rotation with your ankles now. And then from here, slowly rest your hands on your thighs, relax the chest, relax the shoulders. You're going to be coming into a cat-cow position, so wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and I'm encouraging you to move differently to get there today. It doesn't have to be fancy, just different to how you would usually practice. And then once you are in your all fours position, take one of your blocks and place it behind your forearm and at the base of your wrist. Take your second block and place it in front of your knee and your thigh. So aligning your tabletop with beautiful 90-degree angles, and you might find the block moving, tilting. So getting the arms and the legs perfectly positioned so that they remain still. You can keep the blocks there for feedback, or you can place them off to the side. And then from here, you'll move through your traditional cat-cow, sending the hips and the pubic bone forward, chin to chest, navel towards spine. Stretch the shoulder blades away from one another. On your inhale breath, begin to tilt the pelvis towards the ground. Shine the heart and the sternum forward. And then just move at a pace that feels appropriate to you. And then from here, rather than moving in a linear fashion, see if you can undulate your spine in a different way. Perhaps circling the hips around to the side and then rounding up and across to the opposite side. Maybe you sway from one side and take the gaze over your shoulder and then do the same to alternate. Maybe you use a combination. Notice what sort of thoughts stir up. Maybe you feel silly, or maybe you experience this cat-cow movement differently, but in a positive light. And then just slowing your movement down, finding a neutral spine. So belly slightly scooped, eye gaze is forward but towards the ground. From here you can take your block out from your hands and your legs, and you can step your feet forward, planting your legs behind your forearms. Block can assist, or you can keep hands to the ground, but we're coming into our dangling pose. So knees can be bent. Unlike Uttanasana, where we're trying to lengthen the hamstrings, we are trying to soften. So take whatever support you need. Maybe hold your arms differently. Hands cupping elbows or forearms. And if you felt congested in the chest,
You could take your hands to your sacrum, interlacing the hands and allowing the elbows to span wide, gently stretching through the front of the heart. And then can you play around with stabilization, gently rocking forward and back in the feet, forward to the balls of the feet and back to the heels. And again, using the body as a metaphor. The structure should move with us, despite what it encounters, like a blow of wind. And then begin to fix yourself in a permanent position and straighten your legs. So start to feel that restriction now in the pose. Maybe as tightness through the backs of the legs. Maybe an inability to fold in closer to yourself. And if your hands were behind your back, start to slowly bring them forward. Everyone now cupping the elbows if you weren't already. Arms can still rest on a block, but invite softness. Feel the connection between abdomen and the thighs. Then from here, start to slowly shift your gaze forward of your arms, but still keep the gaze towards the ground. Hold on to your block and gradually step your feet as wide as your mat, starting to angle your toes out and your heels in. And then just shimmy in your hips, gradually descending towards the ground, coming into Makasana or our garland pose. Block can travel with you and you can rest atop of it. And then from here, lifting your shoulders over your hips, maybe creeping your feet out further, coming into some deeper external rotation. And then your hands can either grip around your lower legs, helping to keep the legs open, or you could rest elbows on thighs and then backs of palms together, fingertips to the ground, working to stretch through the wrists. Keep the eyes lowered to a soft gaze, or crack the eyes to 1/10 and gaze out to the horizon. Watch the breath and watch the heart. Bring that same awareness into your body that you did in the beginning of the practice. So notice any clenching through the buttocks, any squeezing around the tops of your thighs, any gripping around the knees. And even though your hands are holding onto the legs,
or stretching the wrists. Is there effort involved in those hands? And if so, release. Keep a soft belly, an open chest. And then start to take one hand behind you. Slide your feet in slightly so that you can prop up off the block, bringing it into its lowered position. Taking a seat and stepping the left foot out in front and resting the right heel just underneath the perineum. And then from here, take your left palm, place it to the inside of your left leg, stretching the heel of the palm towards the ground. Squeeze the leg and the arm in towards one another. And then bring your right arm up towards the ceiling. And then circle the arm back, only taking it as far as your body will allow you. Breathe into the unusual sensation you might be experiencing in the forearm, the fingers. See if you can turn the head and the neck slowly now to gaze in the direction of your thumb. And then ever so gently allow the arm to help you unravel forward. Eye gaze following last. Take a hold of your left knee with the right hand. Gently unthread your left hand and place the fingertips out to the side of the body. Holding and just allowing the body to rebound. From here, you can place your fingertips back, bending in the elbows as you step the right foot forward, tucking left heel in underneath the perineum. And if that's not accessible, feel free to extend the leg out. Take your right arm now, placing it to the inside of the right leg, flipping your palm so your fingertips are facing back towards the body, pressing or driving the heel towards the ground to increase the stretch. Squeeze knee and arm together, and then inhale to take left arm up, overhead, and then behind you if accessible. Gazing out to the side to begin with and just breathing through the sensation. And if there's a lot of agitation when you encounter this discomfort, try to skip any breath retention. Just focus on an equal inhale and exhale. Samavriti. And then if you can, turn your head and your neck slowly to gaze out towards your thumb. And if that sensation of stress has dissolved, start to incorporate a breath retention after the inhale and after the exhale. Start to slowly allow the arm to guide and unravel you forward. Holding on to your right knee with the left hand, gently unthread the right hand. And then take the arm directly out to the side of the body, fingertips to the ground. Pull the knee in line with the hip. Pause and hold. You might feel a dull ache on that rebound. Know that it's temporary. And then from here, you can start to walk the fingertips back. Coming into our ankle stretch. So tucking both of your feet behind you in Virasana. You can stay propped up on the block or you can remove it. We won't be here for very long. So your fingertips will come back and the heels of the palms will connect to the ground. As your elbows bend, begin to press into the tops of the feet and lift the shins and the knees off the ground. And then begin to lower the shins, press into the ground and open through your chest. And again, slowly start to come back, bending in the elbows, pressing into the tops of the feet and lifting the shins and the knees. Doing that one last time. And if it only feels uncomfortable, just pushing it a little bit further to your edge. Cultivating discernment between discomfort and actualized pain. Release the shins, slowly guide your chest forward. Come off your block, placing him towards the top of your mat. And then shift yourselves into your seated butterfly. Option to take your bolster now, either placing it underneath the knees or in front as a support for your chest. Block can also be utilized to rest on your head, but you'll start just by hinging forward at the hips, and you can walk the fingertips forward, shining the sternum forward, and just finding a degree of sensation before pushing yourself any further in that fold. And as you start to feel more comfortable in the posture, begin to stir that up by coming deeper into the fold. Continue to travel as far as your body allows. And no matter how deep a fold you are holding, start to soften the chin towards your chest to encourage flexion in both the cervical and lumbar parts of your spine. Connecting in now with the sound of your breath. And if there is some degree of difficulty in holding and staying in this position, do you observe that reflected in the breath? And if so, what can you do to the breath to help soften the position?
In your next breath, beginning to slowly come up halfway in your butterfly fold, taking a hold of your feet or your ankles when it's available. And then growing tall through the crown of the head, but keeping a slight pitch in the spine. Begin to take some circles, so circling around and back. And your breath is free, so you can choose to inhale and exhale at any point. What you're looking for here is any gripping or rigidness, any clicking, any pops. And then changing to an anti-clockwise rotation, circling around and forward. And really try to move your rib cage as well as your hips and your pelvis. And now listening for any clicks or adhesions in the shoulders and the spine. Deepening your breath. And then allowing for these movements to slow down and become smooth. Go back 3 times in the opposite direction with this new intention, this smooth and slow movement. Feeling for any of those adhesions, or perhaps noticing a release. And then folding forward once again. Maybe noticing a little more depth in that fold. Perhaps you're able to remove the prop. And if you do come deeper, inviting the same awareness, the same intention to let go. When you're ready, just walking your fingertips wide and out in front of you, pressing into the tips of the fingers to gently lift the head off whatever support you are using. Pause and breathe. And then slowly start to creep your fingertips closer towards the body, helping to leverage the body in an upright position. And once your shoulders are rested over the hips, rest your hands where they feel comfortable. Relax through the lower body. Take a moment to rebound, to recalibrate. And from here, we'll make our way into Anahatasana, or melting heart pose. Several options available. You could place the bolster underneath your chest. You could place bricks out in front for your palms, or one singular brick underneath the head. So find your way up onto the knees, with the knees just underneath your hips.
And then take your arms nice and wide apart. Use your mat as a reference point. And then begin to descend your heart towards the ground. Again, move slowly. Feel into where you feel sensation first. And if you were practicing perhaps without a prop underneath the chest and your chest hasn't even made it to the ground and you experience sensation, begin to slowly press up and grab the support that you need. And often in our yin practice, because our postures are held for longer, we often fall into the idea that we are fixed in whichever variation we have decided for ourselves. Know that this is absolutely not the case. You can modify, you can change whenever you feel called to do so. And if you are experiencing stressful times at the moment, and you happen to have the block underneath your forehead, try to align the edge of that block just above your brow line, and hear the weight of your head pressing into the edging of your block. We'll provide some acupressure to Stapani Mama point, which will help in activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. In this particular posture, if you find that the weight of your head is becoming heavier, or that you may be holding your forearms, then this is generally a good indication that something has released in the tissues and you can start to work deeper and unassisted in that particular shape. And then when you are ready, start to glide your hands beside your face. Take a moment to rest the shoulders. And then begin to gently press into your palms and your forearms. Slowly hinging your way into a neutral tabletop. slight tuck of the pubic bone. And then just shuffling your knees forward. Make sure that your blocks are handy, bolster handy, and come all the way onto your back. We're going into a reclined butterfly pose, so feel free to roll and assist yourself down first. And just place one block underneath each knee or thigh. And depending on how open you feel in those hips, you might adjust those blocks at their higher height. You might take them slightly lower. But soles of the feet together, hands resting over your womb space, index finger connecting, thumb connecting. Melt the back of your heart into the ground. Keep the chest open, jaw soft. And by now you'll be getting good at your observations. Check where you're holding. Resisting. From your supine butterfly, we'll take the right leg into a half supine frog. So remove your block and then send the foot out to the side so that that knee is coming out from the hip. And you could place the block as a weight on top of the thigh to encourage a deeper opening. You could place your bolster across your thigh. More gentle feedback. And again, observe how the body has reacted to this subtle change. Intuitively, what is your first thought or instinct? Come out, stay, deepen, or soften. Are you still holding in the glutes, in the outer hips?
And then switching out sides. Gently bringing the right foot back to meet the left. Sliding that block underneath the knee. Taking out the left block from underneath the left knee and thigh. And then sliding or extending the leg out from the hip further. Option to add the weight of the block or bolster to the thigh. Rest your hands where it feels appropriate and check in. And notice the differences between side to side. You might have one side that's very cooperative. And another that is seemingly disobedient. And then notice if your attention has been drawn outward, either to the sounds around you Notice if your body responds to those distractions. And once you recognize them for what they are, can you continue inward? In your next breath, take your block off the thigh or bolster if you're using it. Slide the feet back together. Rest back in Supta Baddha Konasana, your supine butterfly. Hands can rest on your hips or you can take them out to the sides. And just observing the difference now shape how you feel versus when you first entered this posture. Perhaps you didn't think it were possible for your hips to feel this released. Or the opposite, perhaps you're used to resting in dip hip openers and today that just didn't feel appropriate. And maybe you still experience the same sensations, but by taking a different direction
and intention with the pose. And for your final resting posture, utilize your hands to gently guide your legs towards one another, feet planted. Walk your feet now just as wide as your mat and allow your knees to spill and knock in towards one another. And as you do, feel your spine start to lengthen. Option to keep your arms wide by your side or wrap yourselves with the arms, maybe cupping shoulder to shoulder. Tuck the chin ever so slightly to keep length in the neck. Keep the mouth slightly parted. Jaw relaxed. And come back into a natural breath. Eyes resting to the back of the head. Bodies and thoughts softening even further. We spend so much of our lives living within the structures we have built for ourselves. Our beliefs, our values, the roles we play. They organize experience and they forge an identity and a path of continuity. They offer us comfort, a sense of rightness and rhythm. And absolutely, there is a time when ego is required, where it serves us and orients us. But remembering that the structure that holds us can sometimes fail. So the questions to be asking yourself today or this week are, what is something that once grounded or stabilized you that is now causing friction, restriction, or just resistance? Maybe it's a special routine, or the way you spend your mornings. And even if those routines were healthy, maybe not so much now. Maybe relationships, friends, acquaintances, business. when you're ready, if the arms were wrapped around your shoulders, start to gently open them wide. And maybe take a baby windshield wiper of the legs from side to side, eventually landing on your right side. And spending a few moments once you feel as though you've recalibrated the breath, start to slowly press your way up to a comfortable seat. And then find length through the crown of the head and assume your compassionate posture one last time. Bringing the hands to heart center, Anahata Akash. Start to rub the palms of the hands together, creating energy and warmth. And then cupping the eyes with the heels of your palms. Letting the eyes crack open inside the palms will seal our practice with the universal vibration of Om, taking a full round of breath together to prepare. Inhaling to begin. Bowing head towards your heart. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within guide your way on. Satnam. Have you enjoyed?